Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Rise of the Phoenix, and welcome to my Haldir Commander Guide. A guy in my fellowship named Chad has been sharing some pretty phenomenal Haldir reports this season. If you guys want to check out some of his reports, do look at my video called Haldir is Insane. I was wrong about where I placed him on my tier list a little while ago. Anyways, Chad inspired me to level up my own Haldir and put him to use. You can check out a battle report over that way. And so I figured, you know what? I'm going to make a guide about him because I really freaking love this guy now. Hope you guys enjoy it. Welcome back, everyone. We'll start things off by talking about the skill build. Haldir is pretty much a straightforward commander. There are two main skill builds in my opinion. The one I'm showing you on screen here is if you have access to Eagles, and that puts 7 of 7 into Beast Training, Eagles being phenomenally tanky against melee units, and healing every single round when they are going to be your primary tank units is quite important for Haldir's army. If you do not have access to Eagles, you could try using Bjornings. Don't think you'll have quite as much success. If you don't want to use either of those, obviously do not put any points into Beast Training. Instead, invest those points into Galadrim or Galadrim, however you say that, as well as shield training. We'll talk about the rest of the build real quick. You really want forest agility because follow-up means that 20% of the time your ranged units get to attack twice that round. Do note this only applies to normal attacks. Unfortunately, since Linden's tier 4 units do not ever normal attack, Linden's tier 4 units get absolutely no benefit from forest agility. So in the case of being Linden and using their T4 units, these points would probably actually be better spent elsewhere, or you can just run with Sharpshooters and Sentinels, which would be probably my recommendation anyway, unless you're Lothlorien. As far as our bottom R0 goes, we have Guide, 15 of 15 points, because this is going to give you a massive damage boost in the first 2 rounds. And importantly, for those first 2 rounds, your army is stun immune. Very important against commanders like the Witch King, potentially important against Khaldun or other commanders, Gandalf the Grey, Gandalf the White, Radagast, anybody that throws out an early round stun. This is massive against them. Armed Escort just lets Haldir deal a little bit of damage on his own and provides some healing. March Warden of Lorien, moving on to the top R0, is a 1-point wonder, I guess we could call it. Every 3rd round, so 2-round cooldown here, you do some damage, and it buffs one of your allied units to evade. It's kind of weird how sometimes they say evade, sometimes they say avoid. They evade the next attack and take no damage. Just a nice source of mitigation. And then to round things off, this is a flat damage boost for your ranged units. This is probably never worth putting 15 of 15 points into unless you're just like a crazy high respect level on your Haldir, just because this might plus 15 usually is not really worth it. Whereas in the case of something like Guide, you gain stun immunity, which is absolutely massive. With 14 of 15, you can still take shield training and fortify to 7 of 7 if you so choose. So yeah, this build if you have Eagles. If not, just move the 7 points into R5 and shield training and you'll be good to go. As far as itemization goes, Haldir, being straightforward, is easy to itemize for. You want some weapon that has army attack ranged, because almost all of your damage is going to be coming from ranged units, especially with how many buffs Haldir has for ranged units. Mirkwood Bow with ranged might is a perfect option. Then we have a hunter's skin for me, Ranged Vigor is just nice to keep your ranged units alive. Optimally, this would probably be like a Ranger's Shroud. There's like a gold item that actually gives army attack to ranged units as well. But a good budget option is the Hunter's Skin. You could probably go with a Scout's Mail with Deafness or Shroud as well. Scout's Mail being quite a nice option because Haldir does scale with his speed stat more so than many other commanders. He really has quite a number of options in the chest slot, but we'll just talk about those for now. The helm slot is another no-brainer. Trapper's Hood, army attack ranged. Hysteria is very nice. You don't need an anti-stun helmet because Haldir is providing the anti-stun for you. If you're really running headfirst into a bunch of Saurons and they're wrecking you, you could drop the Trapper's Hood for a Horseman's Helm with Madness immunity. However, the army attack for your ranged units is very important in my opinion. And then the accessory slot. This one is kind of tough for Haldir because he cannot use the Wizard's Fireworks. Those would be by far the best thing that he could use if he could use them. Unfortunately, he cannot. I've gone with a Hithlane with Mend. You could potentially pick up a Harp of Lorien with Hunter's Mark. If you are struggling with things like Grima with his avoidance skill, or Gilgalad being more and more popular these days, if you need some source of pursuit, this is the perfect thing to pick it up on, would be the Harp of Lorien. And then as far as your army build goes, we'll just go ahead and pull up my Haldir here. The easy options are you want to be running sharpshooters and sentinels, unless you have access to Lothlorien's tier 4 unit, in which case I would be running sentinels and march wardens rather than sharpshooters. If you have Arnor's tier 4, you could mess around with a triple ranged lineup, not melee. Triple ranged lineup, no melee unit at all. Your results would probably vary based on your gear and the gear of who you're fighting, as well as if you run into any hard counters, like some Madness commander like Sauron, for example. In general, I feel like having eagles, swans, or even cataphracts up front is going to be the most consistent option as far as your army setup goes. In a pinch, you could even throw guardians in there since they are quite cost effective, but they're just not quite as tanky as some other units. They do have the added benefit, though, if you're fighting into a lot of Witch Kings or Khaldoons, Black Serpents with burn damage via Alchemists or Corsairs. Guardians do have the added benefit that they are more resistant to burn damage, so that would be a consideration as well when choosing your melee unit. But overall, throw 2 ranged units in the back. I like Sentinels and Sharpshooters. Put some tanky melee unit up front and go to town. Alright guys, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think about Haldir down in the comment section below. I'll catch you in the next one. Rise of the Phoenix, over and out.